G'day everyone, welcome back to Zero Access Footy, episode number 27. I am looking my best and I'm joined alongside someone who isn't looking their best. I'm disappointed you haven't joined me in the intro with the fashionable wear, but yeah, here we go. Get them on, mate. Get them on because we have completed the 2025 home and away season and we are very, very close to finals time. Oh, technically no. We've got one more game to go, but we're going to have a look at most of round 24. And so round 24 began with a not-so-fantastic one. Essendon being beaten by the Blues and a few, I guess, interesting facts about this one. This is now marked the 14th straight loss for the Bombers, which is insane. Yeah. Their last win was against Sydney, which is also quite crazy to think about, but this was when they were completely broken down. And I've written here it could be their lowest point in a half decade.
Probably in 2 decades.
No, I can definitely tell you some worse times.
I don't think they've had a 13-win loss streak in that long. I don't think
yeah,
they were
but
ever
you
that
also have
bad.
to think about when they had the drug saga, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I said the half
Can
decade.
you believe James Hurd still has a job? It wasn't him. I'm just making fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a crazy drive-by. What the hell?
Yeah.
I actually like James Hurd. He seems like a knowledgeable bloke. But
You would hope so, wouldn't you? He was a coach of an AFL football team.
Yeah. He fought bloody hard. I remember listening and watching stories about that time, but that's all not important right now because Essendon is well past that. And at the same time as how disappointing the losing streak is, and it could go to 15 before the year ends, draft time looks really exciting. They have Melbourne's pick, which is going to add on top of their pick. I believe they are in the bottom 4 right now. I'm going to take these off. I feel like I need to be a bit more serious now. But it's looking really, really good for their future at the least. Just more young blood to put into this team. So there's some really exciting ones that you'll obviously point out. Isaac Kako did okay this year. Started off looking exciting, not so much towards the end. Nate Caddy has had his flashes. I think his lowest point, though, was that Richmond game. That was a tough one to watch. Just on all fronts, not even Nate Caddy's fault. Yeah. Not even Nate Caddy in particular, but just everyone really struggled that game.
We should not be talking about Essendon this much.
I guess so. I guess so. That is a good point.
We want to talk about Carlton a little bit because Tom de Koning basically said, see you laters in the post-game, which I thought was really awesome as a Saints fan, but really funny just in general.
Look, it's good to know, though, at least, that he's leaving them all on a good note, right? Off a win in particular. But the fact that he isn't just like silently heading out the door, he's fronted up. And to be fair, the moment that he did say, best of luck to you all, I think was the words used, it was just for his 100-game celebration. They were giving him stuff, a massive presentation. They were giving him like a framed or just a photo of his time, like one of his moments at the club, something like that. But that was for 100 games. Not to say goodbye, but his words in his speech made you think, yeah, right, I think he's going to St Kilda, like we all kind of assumed for quite some time now. We've mentioned that he's been checked out for a bit, and this all but confirms it.
Shout out to Francis Evans. That's all I have to say for
Love
that game.
Francis Evans.
Otherwise,
I love Francis Evans. He really shut me up this year. He's fantastic. I also wanted to ask, who else do you think is on the way out with this squad? Because this could be a
which
max
squad?
Carlton
squad.
This could be a mass exodus.
I feel like we should talk
moment.
about this a bit more when we review these bottom 9 teams. It's probably a bit more topical then.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And we can talk a little bit about their future for next year specifically. However, we do have to talk about the greatest thing that's happened almost, which was Melbourne nearly beating Collingwood again. Nearly.
Well, it was very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. A second time. It's crazy to think it's happened twice this year. But yeah, ended up being a 6-point win, and it took a comeback from the Pies to win this one. You can't believe that this team is sneaking into the top 4 with how far in front they were. Very, very much a possibility at that 3/4 time break that they weren't even going to have the double chance. So I guess they finished 4th. Yeah,
they could have finished 8th.
That's unreal. Time. That's a North Melbourne type crumble from 2016. That's that type of crumble.
Yeah, true.
But they are in 4th place. It does give them a bit of hope that even if they do make a mistake, it gives them another week. The beauty of the double chance. This team screams straight exits to me. Straight set exit. It really does.
It will be beautiful.
It will be beautiful, won't it?
It will be beautiful.
It's going to be a question of what do they do to stem the bleeding. They're a premiership side, so they definitely have what it takes to fix up the problems. But they've had a couple of months now of these problems that don't seem to be getting plugged anytime soon. It'll be interesting to see.
With the way they're playing, and we'll see it in our power rankings shortly as well, that they're just nowhere near their best. And even with a lot of their outs, like you can compare it to Brisbane. Brisbane have just as many outs, and they're still winning games. And obviously they had their down weeks, but for the most part, they've proven to be good enough. Don't believe in Collingwood at the moment, and unless something drastic changes, no Jeremy Howe, it looks like potentially as well, missing 3 weeks, really ruins their season.
Jeremy Howe has had an awful season, not in play, in injury.
He arguably is their most important player by the looks of things. I'm sure if you take Dagos out, lots of impact, but I'm speaking about Josh, not Nick.
You just love throwing some shots at Nick, just whenever you can. Yeah, I had the same realization.
But, listen, it's probably a good thing for Melbourne to finish the season on a good performance. Troy Chaplin's done a decent job, relatively, in terms of getting their talent to all perform pretty well together. They're going to have a lot to talk about this offseason, very similar to Carlton, I think, in terms of who might leave, because there's going to be a lot of talk about it, given what happened last year. On the field, there's not really much to talk about for them. But on field for the Port Suns game, there was a lot to talk about because
speaking of storybooks,
Jesus Christ!
Oh man, what a
close!
What a game! Just in general, it was a really exciting game. Port looked to really start to run away with it at the end. They just had all momentum. Skills were awful on both sides. This was not a really high-skilled game.
Nope.
Stat I didn't know: Port Adelaide actually have the worst disposal efficiency this year. I did not think that was going to be them. I knew they were playing bad. I didn't think they were playing worst disposal efficiency of the year. I thought Essendon or Richmond or West Coast had to be one of those three.
Surely.
It had to be one of those three for me. I think Carlton have done enough and they've had enough big wins to stop themselves from being last, but I thought it was going to be one of those three. So when I heard Port, I'm like, whoa, that is very strange. I didn't think they would be the one to be...
Trivia.
Yeah, a little bit of pub trivia there. But, of course, the story for this one, Boak and Hinkley being sent off in the most perfect way. People just loved Ken's realistic go about it. He just kind of let go and said, it's been a crap year. He's like, this year sucked.
He basically said, I wanted to fucking finish this 10 weeks ago. He could not give any more shit. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the coaching ended up being on Josh Carr anyway. And it was just sort of a bit of a front to basically say, we're going to be shit this year. We're going to have Ken Hinkley take all of it for you. Yeah. But Gold Coast continue to fail at every hurdle they get, basically.
I hate them. I hate them so much.
If they somehow lose to Essendon, my God, my
all-time finals miss. No way that you can argue that it's like a fluke or anything. This is just a Gold Coast thing. Mm-hmm. So they need to win this. It is at Gold Coast. It is against a team that has lost 14 straight. Yeah. We'll talk about it eventually, but this is more than a deserving loss of a top 4 spot. If you lose to this team, who have nothing to play for, worst skills in the league, this loss just screams fraudulent. This loss screams elimination, final exit. It's just, unfortunately for Gold Coast, while they will, 99.9% sure, they will break the curse of not being at finals time. All this makes me feel like you're going to be out week 1 unless a miracle comes around.
Yep.
It depends who they're going to play. If they play GWS,
I feel like
they're done.
I feel like they'd rather play GWS than Fremantle.
Well, the interesting thing for GWS is, I believe it's GWS at least. Yes, it is. They have potentially 3 different opponents they've got to scout, and we'll talk about that when we get to them. But Gold Coast, get stuffed. I hate you.
Well, the team you definitely don't hate is North Melbourne. Yeah. Because this performance is actually kind of decent. Adelaide got the chockies in the end.
But that was expected.
Yeah, expected. But you guys pushed them for the most part. And I thought that's pretty much bare minimum of what you need to do.
Yeah, 100%.
You guys absolutely dominated them in the midfield.
To kick 100 points without Nick Larkey and without Cam Zurhaar. It's not what I expected, but Cooper Trembath is quickly
really
showing that, oh man, I'm so glad that he's had this start, because now he's going to take that positive start into the offseason and go, what could I crack this? What could I crack next season? Because he's going to get re-signed. I think his contract has finished up, but it's almost certain that he's going to be re-signed or extended. I don't think his contract has finished up, but he's going to be extended. There's just no way they don't unless North is stupid, which honestly could happen. But Cooper Trembath, that is such a good find. We needed a key position find like that, and Cooper has started off really. He just attacks it, and that's what we need from all of our players realistically. He just goes after it non-stop. He does not give up.
Yeah.
And I think it showed throughout the entire team in this one, which was great. But for Adelaide, it was an interesting scare. I think it shows cracks within their defense.
They're
because
far from bulletproof.
one of the interesting changes, a Clarko change that he made, he put Aiden Core in the forward line.
Aiden Core, let's go.
Yeah, as a negating.
Yeah, on Mark Keane.
Yeah. He played on Mark Keane in the back. It's just confusing. It was like a backman.
It's like
playing a forward role, but still playing as a backman. It was
like,
so weird.
Teams do this to like Tom Stewart or James says, how is Mark Keane getting this attention? Like, what?
Statistically, he's one of the best at the moment.
Yeah, him and Josh Roll, I think, are top 2 in intercept possessions all year. And it's understandable. I would have thought Worrell would be the one you go to. I understand, obviously, not having Larky, there's no real key position forward for Keane to go to. So there's some sort of argument there. But, I mean, it worked. You can't fault it because you stayed in the game for the most part.
The fact, it was going to be tough for us to stop them getting over 100. I knew that. But the fact we picked up the 100 as well, that was what really surprised me. I was like, wow, that is an impressive forward performance. I did not expect this to be a shootout. I thought if Adelaide were to get to 100, it'd be at least a 50-point thumping. So, I mean, just a very, very positive game on both sides, purely because of the fact for Adelaide, they've clinched the minor premiership. Congratulations to them. What a fantastic season so far.
Yep.
First time since 2017 when they made the grand final that season.
Correct.
We all know what happened. But it'll be interesting to see how they do this one. And dependent on how they go through finals, grand final day, if they make it, could be Isaac Rankin's return. But if they perfect run what they've got, if they do not lose, Rankin will not play the grand final. So that it's pretty much a perfect season except for that last bit.
More good performances for North, please, for next year. I don't want to see this man depressed. Tigers versus Cats should have been more. To be honest, Cats just got the job done. Jezza kicked
This is super
inaccurately.
cruisy. This is super cruisy. 4 goals, 4, I think he was.
Yeah, he's had a few off
Jezza
legs.
Watch is dead, man. Jezza Watch is really dead.
Needs to kick 17, and they have a really tough schedule heading into the grand final path. That would probably
The reason
be
Jezza
the day.
Watch for 100 was because of the fact that he kicked the 11 against North, and he had such an easy stretch going into the end. The fact that he has kicked inaccurately and probably not needed to push himself as much as he needed to. Look, I think he's done the team thing, which Geelong has always been good at. They've always had the players buy into the system, and it's made them so good for so long. But locked in a top 2 spot, another great campaign. It's what they wanted. It's what I expected from them. They just find a way to get it done. From the beginning of the year, I said they find a way to get it done. That's what they've done here. Not a massive win against Richmond, but at the same time, it's basically all they needed to do. They did not need to wow the world. So good on them. Richmond, on the other hand,
Nothing to say.
no,
I've got nothing to say.
I've got a few. I think this is a fantastic season for them. Remember when we were saying how does this team win a game? And then the joy of round 1 and seeing that.
Yeah.
How many people do you think saw them winning 5 games this season?
No one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw them winning 5. I think the fact that
let's leave the season review for later.
Yeah, that's fair.
Talk about the game.
Richmond, a bit of a nothing game, of course, but nice to see them show off Camden McIntosh in a nice way. That's the last bit. West Coast.
They were so on at halftime. I tipped West Coast to win, and they were so on at halftime.
They were. They started off with the first 3 goals of the game. I remember seeing this. I'm like, whoa, could they get their second one here? No.
Swans just flexed their muscle. So disappointed. I'm like a disappointed father. Come on, guys.
Yes.
Make me look better, please.
Yeah, well, if this wasn't West Coast, fan apathy would probably be the worst it's ever been. As in, like, the care for the club. Like, if North Melbourne was doing this, we have 10,000 show up, not even, to our games. Because it's West Coast, it doesn't matter. They'll have 40K show up.
Melbourne had like 8,000 earlier this year on multiple occasions.
Because they're losing consistently. And their team is
Look at Saints fans. We get 30K when Naz.
Yeah, exactly. Naz does when you've got hope, things are on the up. But for West Coast, things are on the down.
West Coast fans, go watch the new Superman movie. That's all I can say if you want hope.
Huh?
Have you never seen Superman?
Yeah, I've seen the Superman movie.
Yeah, so do you not understand the entire principle of Superman he is the symbol of hope?
Yeah, but why did you bring Superman up?
Because we were talking about hope, and they wanted hope, and he couldn't give them hope.
You nerd, shut up. Let's go to Sydney. So Sydney, Fucking loser. A really bittersweet season for Sydney. If it wasn't for
Started
horrific
shit.
injury luck, yeah, they did start bad, but yeah, I think it's purely due to injury luck. They proved in the second half of the season they play a winning style of football. I think next year we'll see him in September.
Big call.
Dean Cox is figuring out his side more and more as weeks go by. And so with Sydney in this one in particular, sure, sketchy start, but he managed to rally the troops. The talent just paid off. And obviously it's against West Coast, so it's going to work more times than not. Like 99% of the time it's going to work just with this club. But Sydney did what they needed to do. Won a lot of impressive games. That win against Brisbane was pretty good too very recently. So yeah, it's a bittersweet season. It's a season of what-ifs.
Let's get on to the big Sunday games because the AFL loves to schedule them all on Sunday. The Giants scrape over the line against the Saints as Toby Green tapes 2 terrific marks to close them out. We looked really good in this. Like we were pushing them all the way.
You really wanted to get 11th spot.
No, we didn't. Zach Jones, you are my savior. If you watch that final quarter,
he has sacrificed his career for the Saints tank.
Quite literally, we could give him a year because he was so shit in that last quarter.
And then never play him.
I'd love it. Saints VFL captain potentially for next year. He had a moment where he was 25 out directly in front and misses. He also had the moment where Darcy Jones kicks the goal. The ball just went straight through his legs. So he quite literally gave them the win. I love you, Zach Jones. Thank you for keeping us in 12th spot. But yeah, listen, there was no Buckley and there was no Hogan, so obviously the Giants didn't have any keys. But I thought Sam Taylor, that was one of his worst games I've ever seen.
He has been surprisingly off in the last couple of months. Yeah. He's had an occasional good game, but I think I've counted more bad than good.
The Sam Darcy game, he was shocking. This game, Isaac Keeler and Cooper Sharman towed him up. Like, he looked out of comfort.
This is the worst time to have an off.
Yeah.
Like an off period. He's in a bit of a funk, which is like, when you're going into finals, you cannot afford that.
Because he's such a superstar, you back him in to turn it around, but there are still some worrying signs that a team like St Kilda, who have nothing to play for, and literally don't have 8 best 23 players from next year that potentially could be there in their team. There's a bit of worry signs. Not much else to say for the Giants. I don't fully trust them, but they're still winning. Yeah. So good on them.
For the Saints, I think they are the most talked about 12th place side I've ever seen.
100%. We are the best 12th place side ever.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say the most talked about in most recent memory.
No, we're the
Mainly
best.
because I can't tell you which other... I couldn't tell you who finished 12th last year.
Let me go find it right now.
Yeah, St Kilda's season, my goodness. I mean, again, we'll talk about all this stuff soon, but I want to talk about GWS because I had pointed out... Who finished 12th? Was it St Kilda? Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, no one was talking about St Kilda last year, so my point still stands. Look, GWS, they're in a very interesting spot because their finals opponent all comes down to this last game on Wednesday. If Suns win big, then the Giants play the Hawks in week 1. So Hawks will slide down to 8th. If Suns win in a close game, if Essendon somehow makes it close...
Within 30 points.
Then the Giants play the Suns. Because the Suns will finish 8th. Will just sneak in. If they lose, if somehow Essendon pull it off, then they play the Dogs. So there's 3 different opponents. Sure, there's like more likely ones. Everyone's probably expecting that they end up playing the Hawks. Hawks look like they'd slide down to 8th if Suns win big. That looks like the most likely opportunity. But of course, they could only win by 30. Honestly, the Suns could really make it interesting, this one. It depends how tactical they want to play it, but I do not think they can afford to. I think they need to just win at all costs. Doesn't matter who the hell you play. Just play finals. That's really all it is.
Yep.
99% tells me it's going to be either the Suns or the Hawks. God, if they lose.
Yeah.
But yeah, GWS, this is going to be an interesting little game and off-season. Sorry, producer Ethan's distracting me. But I'm very excited to see what GWS's response is going to be to this Wednesday game. So we'll see how that turns out. But for the Bulldogs, their season is, like I said, 99% over. Their season is just about finished up, unless a miracle comes around.
Waiting on miracles.
This habit, you hate. It's not even the fact that they lost this game. It's the fact they even made this game. They have 137%.
They're at 140 before the game.
Yep, they are third in the league for percentage. You'd think with that type of work, they should be way up there.
Mhm.
Way up there. But they're pretty much confirmed to be ninth.
Yeah, like, again, it's hard to say really much because of the Gold Coast game. That's just screwed everything over, but they just didn't look up for it. You look at that second quarter, like the ease at which they were just able to break through the midfield, which has been the Bulldogs' strength all year.
I know.
They were one of the best clearance teams. They were one of the best scoring from clearance teams. And you cannot win the ball off them in the middle. Like, you might get first possession, but they are great at turning it over and scoring from that, especially in the midfield. Not great defensively turning the ball over because they have no one to defend. But, like, that second quarter, they just went to shit. And this, to me, this is almost identical to the Adelaide game from a few weeks ago. I just want to get that score up. But the fact that they were down by 40 points, basically, and they said, oh, we've got one quarter, our season's on the line. They came back and made it close, sure, but they never really had a chance at winning it. Like, it was always at that 2-goal margin. They never were able to break through because whenever they needed to, Fremantle just took the ball to the other end and they scored. And that is a huge problem for a team that is trying to contend. Once again, the Bulldogs cannot beat a top team. They just can't. Fremantle have a great record. They've only lost twice against the top teams. And look what happens here.
Yep, it's just the story of the seasons, really. And so Fremantle's story with this game itself kind of demonstrates their entire season. It's just the gutsy clawback. That first quarter was looking very scary. Like, oh, the Dogs are about to do what they've been predicted to do, dominate from the midfield and start absolutely scoring out of their mind. And the hold up, lots of credit for that second quarter midfield effort because that set them up so well. Patrick Voss had a really, really good quarter too. Josh Tracy finished it on a high note, and they managed to carry that all the way to the end. This very, very easily could have gotten out of hand early, but they clawed really hard back in that second quarter. It's, just the story of it. And it shows their entire season. For me, if I was to pick a Smoky right now, based off of that performance and off the stat you had mentioned before, this is it. This is the team. They've put themselves in a nice spot in finals. Very much could see them winning a premiership this year with how hard they fight. They just keep impressing.
Yeah. So the Dogs game against Adelaide earlier in the year that I talked about, it was 98 to 109, obviously Crow's favour. This game was 97 to 112. Both games, they got out to a 40-something lead late in the third to fourth quarter, and then the Dogs claw back to make it look more respectable.
Yeah.
They weren't ever going to win this. And I thought their midfield let down, even though Bont had a great game. I thought he was beat early. Libba beat early. You obviously have the Adam Treloar situation that they didn't bring him in. And I thought this was a game where you probably could bring him in because you have everything to lose.
They took out Riley Sanders and put in Artie Jones.
I didn't even realise that.
They took out Riley Sanders. I was very surprised by that because he's definitely on his best game. He's in their best 23. So 100%. To take him out and put in Artie Jones, who hasn't played all that much this season.
Yeah, definitely not. And we've got a section later about Bevo, and that's sort of where I want to get into specific coaching decisions and how much he likes to play around with things. But at the same time, like this, from Fremantle's perspective, this is one of their best wins ever.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They stood up to it. They've been absolutely belted in the media for what they did last week.
And they were considered big underdogs in this one. I was surprised how much of an underdog they were.
They have been in really good form aside from 2 weeks where they lost to Sydney, which was an unexpected game, and then they lost to the Lions, who at those specific times, they were two insanely informed teams. And Brisbane just needed to bounce back after losing to Sydney in the first place. They are looking seriously good.
They are looking threatening. They're looking really, really good.
And for them to not rely on Serong and Brayshaw this week especially, like Serong had the 24, but I thought Murphy Reid, 19 touches, 3 shots on goal.
I'm pretty sure he is going to be confirmed rising star at this point. He has just risen up slowly, but this game is like cemented rising star for him.
This is one of Shea Bolton's most consistent performances, I'd say, because there's times where he'd have a great second half and then bad first half, but he's really consistent. And their backline, I think this is Brendan Cox's best game of the last 2 seasons. He had a fantastic year in 2022.
Give credit to all of Fremantle, though, in this specific game. 100%. First team, I think, in a long time that's held Sam Darcy to 0 goals. I think this screams of smoky potential. Screams of Brisbane a bit. This
Little
team can
bit.
bring it to any team.
Little
They
bit.
really can. You just hope they don't get caught against a team that's in some really, really good form. I think right now they're 6th or 5th. Is their spot? 6th. So right now they'll either play Gold Coast or they
Hawthorn.
will play Hawthorn.
Those are the only
And they
two.
have a really good shot against both.
Yep.
So it's going to be great to see.
Yep.
It's going to be a home Elim final too, which is fantastic for their fans. And then finally, we move to what was also a pretty exciting game, Lions v Hawks. Lions take this one by 10 to clinch the 3rd spot and a double chance. So well done to Brisbane. Their premiership defence has a fantastic base. It was looking really, really worrying. They started 0 goals 8, I think.
Yep, the 0 goals 8, and then they were like 1 goal 9 as well.
They finished the game, I think, 11 goals 22.
Oh, that's crazy. Like
11 goals 23, sorry.
34 shots on goal against a Hawthorn backline that has been very good as well, mind you, is very impressive.
There's positives to take, but it's like, oh man, you really nearly messed this up.
They did. And when you take into consideration the Carl Amon handball that was paid deliberate out of bounds, that was not deliberate out of bounds in any manner, sort of affects them a little bit. But at the same time, like, what more can you really do? Like, they shouldn't have even been in the game to begin with. Like,
Yeah.
So people saying that, that cost them the game, shouldn't have been in it in the first place. I don't know what the expected score was. I'm going to search it up right now.
Could be one of those situations where champion data goes, the line should have beaten by 50 plus, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely
find
cracks in the armor. That's all this game has told me. There's ways you can beat this team. I know for certain. They've had those games against Sydney where they've lost on the home deck. They haven't been that great there. So as much as the double chance is great for them, and they won't be playing on their home deck for that qualifying final, it's still going to be a really, really interesting look as to how they cover them up. But if there's any team to cover them up, it's Brisbane. They know how to do it. Hawthorn, on the other hand, they've also made finals. Obviously, they've made it a bit tough for them. We talked about this being a chance for their double chance, making up for it. But missing out on that double chance by 10 points is definitely going to hurt. So now they find themselves in do or die for the rest of the season, the rest of the finals, however long they go. And they do it as an away side on all occasions as well. Obviously, if it's against who's in there? No, it'll always be an away. It's either going to be Gold Coast, Freo, or GWS. So they're going to be playing out of Victoria no matter what. This is going to be a really, really interesting to test because they are a team that relies on some spark. They had some moments here. Mabior Chol with his 3 goals in the first quarter, which was really exciting. Didn't kick a goal for the rest of the game. So it goes to show this team works in moments. They showed it against the Adelaide team. They brought them. They really tested them. They have what it takes to win a final. To go all the way, though, I don't think you can rely on sparks.
No.
And this game kind of showed it a bit to me.
I think with their ball movement and their offensive style, they've got to switch some things up. Defensively, solid, even though, again, Brisbane were great offensively except for kicking a goal. I still feel like offensively, they don't have what they had last year, and that's really hurting their chances this year.
Yeah.
Let's get into Macca's Man of the Week.
Woohoo! Oh,
Yippee.
yes.
We
So
need to get the
this
glasses
one-
on this bloke.
Oh, yeah, hold on. let me lock back in real quick. All right, there we are. Fantastic. We're ready to go. Macca's Man of the Week, boys and girls. So round 24 saw a lot of nice names. I've realised more and more as I've done Macca's Man of the Week, I don't give key position players as much love as I should.
So, who are you giving it to this week?
Not key position players. I just realised as I looked at it, I'm like, oh man, these are all midfielders. But first vote, to be fair, not much of a midfielder, but his impact in this game was fantastic. I thought it was really surprising. Tom Papley, he gets himself a vote.
Against West Coast.
It was against West Coast, 27 disposals though, and to fight back like that, I thought was quite impressive from Tom, especially considering he just can't keep himself healthy. I haven't seen too many fantastic games from him, so to see it was really, really nice. 2 votes though. We're going to go Hugh McCluggage.
McTuggage, okay.
I think in a close game like that, he was all over it. He's very much another one of those off and on players, right? He's so effective with the ball, but it's just about how often he gets it.
Yep.
He got that ball a lot. Josh Dunkley was also very close to him as well. I thought those two played really, really well. And of course, all around the field, there was lots of positives.
Interesting to see who gets the 3 votes.
3 votes. It's going to go to Zach Butters.
Okay.
I gave it to Zach Butters just purely because of the momentous occasion for the club. Stepped up in a big way. Really, really, everyone expected him to lose. So the fact that he led the win in a season, he hasn't put numbers up like that, I think, at all. Very, very few, if he has. Just a fantastic performance from him. I tried to think of really close games, and it definitely could have gone to a lot of those Freo players, but I think these individuals stepped up really, really well. And I wanted to give Port a bit of love considering
fair enough.
the situation and how I watched that game. And it was just so exciting. It was so much fun to watch, and Butters was everywhere. Rosie could be up there too, but I just didn't want to give 2 Port players that.
And Macca's Donkey of the Week.
Macca's Donkey of the Week. Originally it was up to 2, but we've gone with a more relevant pick here. It's the Gold Coast Suns. Oh,
we have a new background.
Macca's Donkey of the Week has been upgraded, boys and girls. I'm excited. Gold Coast Suns. Oh my God. I cannot. I said it last week. I can't believe this team's going to play finals. And then you do that. Come on. That is so disappointing. This should be, like, I genuinely believe top 4 was a lock. I'm like, yep, top 4, no worries. Dogs should have their season confirmed over by this point, but the fact we're even talking about them having a chance still at finals shows just how poorly and how badly Gold Coast have messed up. Interesting fact that I found out on game night that they mentioned over the commentary, they have never won at Adelaide Oval.
Okay.
I thought they were going to win this one. I thought they had to.
My God.
Of course no. Of course no.
Question. Would there have been more pressure on them had they have won to make top 4, or in this instance right now where they need to make top 8?
I would much rather have the pressure of being top 4 than pressure of being top 8.
But I'm talking about like external pressure on them to win. Would there have been more for them to make top 4?
I don't think so. I
think
if they had just locked in finals, everyone would have been like, yay, we're going to see Gold Coast in the finals. And now it's like, if you lose to Essendon.
Yep.
If you lose to Essendon, that's going to be really... you're going to get Donkey of the Week ×2. So there we go.
They got every Donkey of the Week for the rest of
their
life.
Big donkeys. All right, let's go to the returning segment. We saw a hiatus for a week, but here we are. We're back with Behmy's TT.
Yep. First issue is going to be Caleb Serong. Did not get a week for this. This is a clash of head on shoulder, technically. Serong attempted to go for the ball correct, and Jordan Croft led with his head. Didn't get a week. Good. This was a football act. He went to pick up the ball. They both met there at the same time, so it wasn't like Croft was going first and Serong went to bump, just went for the ball, and it was incorrect technique from Jordan Croft. Next one I want to talk about is Liam Baker. Gets 1 week, but the Eagles are challenging this. He goes to collect him high. Very, very minimal contact.
That is so lucky.
And they've given that a week.
I'd give it a week too, honestly.
He goes to bump him, which is the issue. And then as soon as he does bump him, he says, no, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, like...
This is a lot more of a action than result. This is a very strange change from... I'm so used to them. I'm surprised they gave him anything.
I am also surprised, but I think they should keep it because they are challenging it. So... Do I think he gets away with it? Yes. Do I think he should get away with it? No, because he has gone to bump. He has got him high. And I think regardless of the actual contact made, that is an action we do not want in our game. That is such an
obvious action too. Yep. That is an obvious... Chad Warner is barely affected, thank goodness. But look at... Like, that is as clear as day. If he had come in a bit harder or a bit more online... knocks him out through the head, and then we see him and go, oh, okay, Chad Warner's got 3 whatever weeks.
Liam Baker.
Other way around. Liam Baker would have 3 weeks or plus, just dependent on the result. But sure, maybe you could say this is still result-based. The fact that he hasn't knocked him clean has made it less, but at the same time, we don't even see weeks usually with stuff like this. So the fact that they've even given Baker a week, I'm very happy with.
Yeah, I agree. I think...
So after the talk regarding Behmy's TT, we want to talk to a bigger punishment. Getting sacked from your club.
It's a really big punishment.
Really big punishment, but it's been a question that lingers now. It's not one that gets asked all the time because the Dogs always seem to remain competitive enough. But this is yet another season where we've felt that the Dogs have underachieved. They've got so much talent everywhere.
Significantly.
We talk so much about the talent. We knew one team was going to miss the entire time. But we both didn't say the Dogs. I think we both said someone else.
We both said Hawthorn.
And they're going to sneak in. Meanwhile, the Dogs have missed out on their opportunity. They have lost the elimination. And it goes to show that maybe there's a few things here and there that Bevo could have done on the field tactically, especially during that second quarter run. But Do you think some of his decisions have maybe brought the question to the forefront again? Should Bevo get the sack?
We should start with, obviously, the game day decisions, which is you've got a 4 to 5 week runway heading into finals where, like, every team knows exactly who they are playing. Every team knows exactly how they should be playing. So basically, you don't want to change it unless there is something significantly wrong with your game in which you're trying to fix, but you should have been going at that before because that was a known issue. The Bulldogs has always been defensively, specifically one-on-one defensively, we cannot hold up. Obviously, Rory Lobb has been a great find-down back, but he's not a saviour, far from it. Liam Jones has had his issues. Jed Bustling has played like under 10 games, so he's not going to be a world changer. James O'Donnell is undersized for a second key defender.
He's doing okay, but obviously not enough.
He's not going to stop a Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah.
You can't ask him to do that. And then you got Nick Caulfield and Bailey Williams who are asking to be lockdown defenders, but Bailey Williams is basically a winger, and then Nick Caulfield is meant to be an interceptor at his best. Not fit for the role at all. And when you come into the last 2 weeks of the season and you bring in Jordan Croft for his first 2 games, and then you drop Riley Sanders and you make all these changes, which he consistently has, you just bring into question why. It was working with Darcy and Norton as the 2 main key forwards, and then you have a Bontempelli resting because you've got a midfield talented enough to be able to hold up without him, and he'd basically be your third tall. But no, they want to go taller. They want to play to their strength even more so rather than finding another key position defender. And specifically on the weekend when Fremantle were absolutely dominant, it was because the Dogs weren't able to defend, and specifically they weren't able to apply pressure from the midfield and half forward line, Dockers half back, and stop the ball movement. Fremantle were moving the ball as quick as I've ever seen them move the ball and as direct as I've ever seen them move the ball, which shows to system. That doesn't rely on the players. That is the system. Obviously, there's implementation issues, but if you cannot implement your system to the best of the abilities to get your team to win in finals-like games, which was 100% this weekend, then you have to be brought under fire. This team has Bontempelli, Ed Richards, who's arguably been the best player this year, Aaron Norton, top 3 in the Coleman, Sam Darcy, I think top 10 in the Coleman, even after missing 8 weeks. They have Bailey Dale off halfback. This team is far from talented shy. Like, they've got Tim English, one of the best ruckmen in the leagues. They've got Libba. They've got Matt Kennedy, who's had a great year. They've got insane talent. And he still isn't willing to budge. He's the definition of playing with favourites, and he's not willing to change that. If you cannot find someone in this offseason specifically to fix that need, which they have never done. They haven't gone out and targeted Tom Barras. They haven't gone out, like, obviously they're targeting Jack Silvani this year. They do not look like favourites to get him, though. What are you doing? That's on the list management, but that's also on Beveridge because he knows this list better than anyone. I am very much of the opinion that there is no reason for him to stay in this job. Obviously, they had 14 wins and they could still make finals. They probably won't, but I don't think this is acceptable on any means if you're the Dogs. He has won finals in 2 years, 2016 and 2021. Aside from that, he's lost every other final he's played in. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it.
My question is, what change in his style, which obviously is going to be tough to do because Beveridge has a style. He's been doing it since he's been the Dogs coach. But what change in his style does he need to make? Does he need to explore with more options? Does he need to learn to target certain players?
They are guns blazing with their ball movement because they obviously want to get their key forwards out in space. I thought their ball movement on the weekend was specifically poor. It was a lot of just hack kicking, thinking we're tall enough and we'll be able to just take contested marks all the way through, and they just weren't, and Fremantle just went bang off of half back. But I think I talked about it before when we originally had this section on, and I said, if you were to take a goal away from their offense, they're averaging 110 points per game this year, 116 at Marvel. If you take one goal away from their offense and give them 2 goals defensively better, it's a world of difference. Like, it changes them completely. And they're just not willing to do that. They are the definition of, we're going to play to our strengths and we're going to try only do that. We're not going to minimize your weaknesses, your strengths, and play to your weaknesses. We are just going to play to our strengths.
It's almost like there's nothing tactical in terms of in-game changing. It's literally just, I'm here for substitutions and who's going to play where, but we're always going to stick to our goal. So much so that even if they're starting to make a massive burst against us, as Fremantle did, I'm going to just hope that our guns blazing midfield will eventually catch back the tide and bring it back. And the thing is, they always do it late.
Yep.
And it's purely because of the fact that he doesn't seem to adjust enough in the right way to prevent the team from playing to their strengths.
He's the definition of relying on talent to win. And I don't see how he should last beyond this year.
If he were to get the sack, there's plenty of candidates out there. Is there a specific one that you think could help this team out?
Go the untested route. I don't think going for an Adam Simpson or a Nathan Buckley or a John Longmire.
They won't get Nathan Buckley from what it sounds like.
I think you could go, there's been lots of names obviously with the Melbourne job as well, and they're probably going to be battling. But I think if you go for try and prize a Corey Enright out, who is a defensively based coach who will solve your issues, or if you go for a Daniel Giansiracusa, who I think I'm a big fan of.
Giansiracusa could be because he's Dogs legend. He could be the one, yeah.
I think Stephen King as well. There are reports of him potentially leaving Geelong and going into a head coaching job. I think he'd work really well in terms of building a consistent foundation of success, being from Geelong. Mm-hmm. I think those are the three that I would be really looking after.
Yeah, fantastic. And so it seems very clear from an outsider perspective. Defense is their main change. Beveridge doesn't seem to be able to fix it unless they decide to give him a year and tell him, all right, Beveridge, Luke, good mate, been here forever. You need to fix this up.
Well, they cleared out all their coaches 2 years ago, and then the 2 years since, one of the top teams lost in the first week of finals, and then this year, where they could very well miss finals.
And that's kind of been Beveridge's personality trait that's always hung around him, is that he's very divisive. He's a man that needs to have it his way or no way, right? I think recently, within the last couple of years, that coach kind of change up. Chris Grant, club legend, is now in bad books, in bad terms with the Dogs because of Luke Beveridge's decision-making. His decision to say, all right, you've double-crossed me, leave. All that type of stuff. I believe that's the case, at least. Mm-hmm. I will double-check that, and God, I hope I'm not wrong. But all I know is Chris Grant is not in good favour with the club, and I'm pretty certain Luke Beveridge was the main reason that's the case. So there's very clear negatives to the man, but the Dogs have backed him for so long. This really needed to be a season that they made some noise, and the fact that they've finished ninth, they've beat up on some really poor teams, and they just could not beat good ones. The only team was GWS that they could, for some reason. But every other team, not a single win. So it's really concerning. If that is a trend for the future, they've got to get rid of him as soon as possible, in my opinion. So, do you think he makes it past the off-season?
I think he does, but I don't think he should.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp. I think they're going to give him another year. They've given him so long that I don't see a reason why they're going to stop all of a sudden.
No, definitely
unless he just has an all-out, complete fall-off.
Well, if the Dogs are able to absolutely whack these bottom teams, the bottom teams are going to want to do something about it.
Absolutely.
And we are going to look at what they can potentially do next year to put themselves in the best position to challenge for a premiership. Not necessarily for next year, but their best chances in the future.
Absolutely. And we'll make it short and sweet for each one because I think we don't need to go too far into detail. If we were to go so far into each one, it would be a massive deep dive to try and fix it up. But where do you want to start? Top or bottom?
Let's go bottom. So what do we want to see from West Coast next year?
Culture change.
I don't want to say injuries, but I also want to see as many young players coming through. I want to see 80% of their team being under 23.
That's a good shout.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's a good shout. For West Coast, oh man, it's so hard. This is, to give you guys I don't know if I said it, this is the worst season that's happened since the second year GWS Giants.
Yeah.
1 win. Oh my God.
It's crazy.
I think it's on the same young person route. Play as many young blokes as possible. Play as many young blokes. Do an Essendon where you just test out as many as you can, see what works. You're going to have pick number 1. pick well.
Yeah. Don't ruin your picks. And if you want, get compensation picks, priority picks, because the AFL will hand out to you.
Yeah,
as we know.
Oscar Allison.
You guys specifically.
Oscar Allen.
Yes.
To Brisbane.
Yeah. Richmond. What do you want to see?
Ooh. I honestly just think keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need to change all much from what they're doing. They have a load of picks. They have 2 and 3 at the moment. Obviously, This is before everything switches up with all the mess of the draft. 5 wins, loads of nice players here and there. The older players, the old guard is starting to move out, but younger players are showing more and more signs. Obviously, stay healthy, but stay the track. Stay the course.
Agreed.
Looking really good.
I want to see for them specifically trade out one of their first round picks and get 2 later picks because I think they're still relying on a lot of experience. I want to see them just continue to get as many young players. I don't necessarily need to see them in their best 23, but I want to know that they're there behind them.
Yeah, they definitely could trade out 3 or 2. Pick 2 or 3.
I think keep your first pick and then trade out your pick 3, what would end up becoming.
Yeah.
And then see if you can get I don't know, pick 15 and 12.
Good
whatever.
shout. Good shout. That'd be crazy though. 12. Well, they got pick 3 with pick 27 for this year. So. Yeah, there's that. North Melbourne. For me, double your wins. Double them.
10. Mm-hmm.
It's time to go.
It's time to go.
This team has been mediocre. Not even mediocre. Been god awful for way too long. You've got talent. They're showing themselves more and more. Get yourself out of the bottom 4 at the very least.
It can't happen again, can it?
It can.
For them, I want to see more of those Adelaide type losses where you don't get smacked by 90 points. And it looks good. You can win 8 games. I'd be very happy for them to win 8 games and finish 12th, but for them to not get smacked every other game. Yeah. I think that is more realistic. And you had them finishing 10th. They are very far from finishing 10th.
Yeah. I'm seeing Sydney there. And I'm like, God, Sydney is so much better than North. Oh, man. Essendon.
Melbourne. No, I'm joking. That's a bit crazy.
No, for Essendon, for me, it's literally just, I don't know, put them all in intensive care units. There's so many injuries that have crippled that club. But the good thing is they've got a lot of picks coming in. I think their off-season's looking really exciting.
It is. I'll go first. If Sam Draper leaving gives you band aid compensation, I don't want to see you fuck up 3 picks again in a row for the second time in 5 years, basically.
What was it, 2021 or
2020? They had 7, 8, 9. They picked. Do you remember the 3 players?
I do remember the segment. It was
Archie Perkins.
Nick Cox was one of them.
Nick Cox and Zach Reid.
Archie Perkins is looking better.
I also want to see them trade out some of their first round picks that have absolutely busted. Like Elijah Titus, he's probably gone. Ben Hobbs probably gone. You can't rely on Will Setterfield in your midfield. And keep paying Ben Mackay $3 million a year.
Yes, please. That's so funny. Oh, goodness.
Big man moves.
Melbourne. Oh, God. Stem the bleeding.
Yeah, basically.
Because they look like they could lose Oliver. They could lose Petrarca, maybe. They don't lose Cozzy. The Cozzy's going to be their great hope for a while, but they don't have any picks.
They don't. But I think I want to see them trade out some of the bye-bye players. Like Bailey Frisch, I think he can go and he can get some value.
There's value there. I was going to say.
Yeah. Who can you trade that still has value? I don't think they can trade Viney anymore. I don't think they should trade any younger players under 25 should not leave.
Fair enough.
But I think Clary, see what you can get for him. Oliver.
That's the same person.
Same player. Track, see what you can get for him. Bailey Frisch, as I mentioned, see what you can get for him. Jake Lever, see what you can get for him. The main question I have is please play Harrison Petty down back.
He's sick of him in the forward.
He is like, scratch your eyes out.
All right. I think I mentioned, just stem the bleeding for Melbourne. Port Adelaide. Get healthy. Same as Essendon, ICU.
Get help.
Because their picks go to Gold Coast as well.
They missed out on Naz and they don't have a first round pick.
Yeah. Get Naz in AFL 26.
Get Tex Wanganeen is your best option. That's the closest Wanganeen to Naz, basically.
I think even St Kilda get him.
Yeah, we do. We have signed him to our VFL. They're done. What can we even see from them? I don't know.
Show a show a new identity. I think they need to find some identity in this one. They're losing a lot of it with Ken Hinkley, Travis Boak. Obviously, they've still got their core at the moment with the chance that Butters leaves. Maybe not this offseason, but next offseason. With this team, they need to find an identity. They need to find a reason to keep these players around. Miles Bergman has bought in, but they've lost that opportunity with Naz. So they need to create an identity, create that reason, that never tear us apart mentality. I think that's done. I think they need to get rid of that. Go in with something fresh.
I think for them, obviously Damien Hardwick was known for saying we've got 80% of our premiership list for coming to Gold Coast. I think Josh Carr needs to question, how much of this list do I think is going to be on our next premiership list?
Yeah.
I think that is a real question because I don't know how much it is. And there are a lot of questions that need to be asked.
For sure. St Kilda. Party. Things are looking really good for their off-season at the very least. There's been the few wanderings here and there. But
are we a destination club?
You've got money. That's why.
Yeah.
Naz stayed because, well, maybe not money specifically. He talks about, how they've trusted him and brought all that in, but $2 million also helps. TDK is going to come in, presumably, as well. Rowan Marshall has been, has been mentioned that he wants to stay.
It has come out, according to Tom Morris, that he's more likely to stay. Don't believe it, but I wouldn't hate it to try one more year. Make sure Max King is fully fit, so that we at least have an option in the forward 50 instead of relying on first gamers. But the question I want to see is, how much are you trying to win now compared to continue this list build for the future? Obviously, we've targeted the draft heavily and got rid of a lot of experienced players. Are we now bringing in a lot more of these players to win within the next 2 years? Or are we still trying to continue this youth path?
I think if you're bringing in TDK, you're going to want to win now, because I don't think with TDK you're going to be able to tank or gather in more young players. I think it's a win now. If it doesn't happen yet, you've still got another year. So I think it's got to be within the next 2 years. Become a top 8 side in 2 years at the very least. That's my go-to from now. Is just aim to be win now. Aim to be it. You don't have to do it just yet. Just make a step. Make a leap. Don't be so predictably close against these bottom sides. Carlton is another stem the bleeding type situation. I hinted at it when talking about them before. They look like they could lose a lot. Obviously, we talked about TDK. He's almost 100% gone. Silvani, we've talked about too. He's looking more and more unlikely. Mitch McGovern, I haven't heard much about that, but I'll take your word for it. Charlie Curnow.
Harry Mackay. Talks about him. Brody Kemp, there's been rumours.
It's just a lot of, see who you can keep, but don't aim to keep everyone, because I don't think everyone is a player you want to keep. I think don't worry about Silvani now. I think Silvani he may just, unfortunately for the sake of the Carlton faithful, he'll be out the door, I reckon. So I think for them it's play it smart, play it really smart, be really careful with what you do here, because as much as you don't want to bottom out, it may be a better option than keeping Charlie Curnow, who struggled, Harry Mackay, who had one good game this season. Congratulations, here's your $1 million contract type. Don't do that.
Sydney, how much of the second half of the season is them compared to the first half of the season? Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Which one do you go with?
Yep. I think there's more than enough proof. This is still the same team, basically, that made it to the grand final last year. I think they're still a win now team. I think this is literally just, you got absolutely crushed by injuries to start the year. Losing Errol Gordon for half of it. You didn't have Callum Miller. Tom Papley was out for a lot of it as well. There's a lot of reliable players. And we talked about it during the season. They were so top heavy. So top heavy. Isaac Heaney would carry them to wins at times. But when all that talent started to come in, looked really, really good. So I think it's a bittersweet season where they've looked good towards the end. They have signs. But their big thing for next season is just build off of what you've done in the second half. With all that being said now, though, let's have a look in regards to our power rankings. We go through this every 6 rounds. It's going to be our final version of it. This is what the power rankings look like after round 24. So I want to quickly race through bottom 4. My bottom four, West Coast, Essendon, Richmond, North.
West Coast, Richmond, Essendon, Port. I think Port have been worse than North Melbourne over the last 6 weeks.
I think their win over Gold Coast says otherwise.
It was 1 week.
It's power rankings, baby.
Yes.
Let's go to the next 4. I've got Melbourne, Carlton, Port, St Kilda.
Got North Melbourne, Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda.
So we've had St Kilda same spot. Carlton for you is up 1. Obviously, Port is behind St Kilda. That's probably our biggest one of contention. Where'd you put Melbourne?
I put Melbourne at 13.
Okay. Yeah, not much to be talking about really
No.
there. I don't think there's anything terribly contentious. I think I just put more emphasis on the Port win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the next one. This could be really interesting. So from here, we are at the
Number
top
10s.
10.
Yep.
For me, 10 are the Dogs.
Wow, I've gone Sydney. I've gone the Swans. I don't think you can consider them part of it. I just don't see it.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think very recently the power rankings were very heavily affected off of their Brisbane win, for me at least. Their
Yeah.
Brisbane win has heavily affected it.
Yeah.
Who have you got for 9?
I've got Gold Coast at 9.
I've got Collingwood. I've put Collingwood out of the top 8 of the power rankings. Lots of really, really close wins against bottom 9 sides and losses against top. Put some dead centre for me.
Well, they started off, it was a loss against Fremantle, a loss against Brisbane, a loss against Hawthorn, and a loss against Adelaide. Those are 4 top 5 teams in my power
Hawthorn
rankings.
is... Hawthorn's in your top 5, aren't
No,
they?
sorry, top 6.
Yeah, okay.
4 of my top 6.
All right, so yeah, Collingwood 9 for me. For me, at 8, I've got Sydney.
I've got Bulldogs at 8. Just
Okay,
sneaking in. I think they've
yeah.
had a couple good wins.
They
in there.
have that GWS one you can talk about, but I just think like so many like pointless, well, not pointless, but like easy wins, and then the losses against the important teams.
Yeah.
Just really ruin
Yeah.
it for me. Gold Coast for me is next at 7.
This is where I have Collingwood.
Okay, I'm not mad at the Collingwood pick. I'm really not. For you at least. I just think Gold Coast, while they have lost to Port, and that's one took them down to 7 for me, it's also thinking smashed Brisbane at home, beat Collingwood, I think, was within the line.
No,
No,
it
that
wasn't.
was the previous power rankings.
I don't have Gold Coast up here because they lost to Port and they lost to GWS when they should have. They lost to Brisbane, as you said, and they also lost to someone else that I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think.
We won't think about it too much.
Nope.
6, Hawthorn.
Hawthorn.
Very nice. Not
Yep.
much to talk about there.
No, they've been a bit up and down as well, but for the most part have looked pretty good.
For me, 5 is GWS.
Also, GWS.
Oh, we're on a bit of a track here. This is
Yeah,
looking good.
I feel like our top 6 could be very similar.
I think it could be the exact same. Who have you got for 4?
Do we want to talk about GWS? Because they're similar to Hawthorn, where it's just like, yeah, you're doing your job at the same time, not much, really.
I've always said they're an up and down team, but they're on more of an up than they are a down. So I've put them in 5. There's definitely some games where they could, and like again the Dogs one that definitely affects them a little bit, but everything else has been positive. Everything like the Gold Coast win was good. They've beaten some other decent sides too. I just can't remember. I'm not gonna overthink it. We're gonna just fly through it because we want to get this done on time.
4.
4. Who have you got?
Go on, Adelaide.
What? Really?
I don't think I think defensively they are great, and when the ball gets inside their forward 50, they can win a one-on-one. But I think ball movement-wise, they're not that good. They get dominated at clearance pretty contested, like heavily against the North Melbourne team. I think there are a lot of chinks in their armour.
Okay. I've gone Freo.
Gone Freo in my top 3.
That's okay. I'm okay with that because I was thinking top 3 for Freo.
They've won 12 and 14.
Adelaide.
Yep.
They've risen to the first spot within the last 6 rounds.
Ladder lies a lot.
I guess so. You are technically right, but my goodness, 4 is insane to me. For me at 3, I've got Brisbane.
I've gone Fremantle at 3.
That's fine.
I think the top 2 are clear. I don't think Brisbane should be outside the top 2.
I've put Brisbane outside the top 2 because I think Geelong and Adelaide, they've been perfect the last 6 rounds.
Geelong have had no one to beat.
I mean, fair, but that's why they're not number 1 for me.
Yeah, I suppose
So, yeah, that kind of spoils it. Geelong is my 2.
Geelong is
They haven't
also
had
my
anyone to
2.
beat except Sydney, maybe you could argue, but
Yeah, even still, they got the job done.
yeah, they did that pretty convincingly, and also the fact they've had some really easy games along the road. So, yeah, there's that argument to be made. Where did you have Geelong?
Geelong at 2 as well.
Geelong
I
at
think
2.
they've been in good form, but also they haven't played anyone to test themselves. So I think, which is my 1, Brisbane, I think they've played teams that have helped them battle up for the top 8.
Brisbane can't be number 1 for me because they got pumped by Gold Coast.
I'm not changing them. I'm not changing them at all.
I mean, fair enough. They've had some good wins. They've played some convincing football. And considering they're premiership defenders, you can make the argument that they're the team to beat. But, like, for me, Adelaide is so clear. So clear. They've played against the tests. They've done so well. Sure, it may not determine how they play in finals. Finals is a completely different beast. But in terms of form, they've just cleared.
Adelaide are going to lose in 2 straight finals.
Oh, my God. So, what? All right, so this is I want to talk more about this. You can't say that at the end of the podcast. That's unbelievable. That's insane. You think the minor premier's going out in straight sets?
Yep. We are leaving this till next week
That's
or the week after.
You cannot do that.
I can do whatever the fuck I like.
Oh, my God. All right, fine. We'll just talk about this stupid game.
What is that logo?
Oh, my God. Yeah, what is that logo? Producer, what's going on with you?
Oh, jeez.
Bombers versus Suns
Might
to
be
round out
back.
the home and away season. This is the game we didn't get to. But People First Stadium, I've said Gold Coast are fraudulent. That's been my word. Gold Coast, fraudulent.
The fraudulent.
God, would this be a fraudulent moment if they lose this? For the sake of normalcy, I'm going to go Gold Coast win it, but they only win it by 20.
If I were to tip Essendon, I wouldn't even be flanked by a mob because there's not enough Gold Coast fans to make a mob.
Oh, my God. If they somehow lose this, Donkey of the Week first off.
They should genuinely go to Northern Territory as another team
Yeah.
if they lose. This isn't not hyperbole. Dead set they should go to the Northern Territory.
Oh, my God.
There we
you
are.
go. Well done, producer.
Thank you.
I'm going to say Gold Coast win by 20.
Going Gold Coast to win by 42 points.
They should win by 42. I just don't
Please.
trust them. My God, Gold Coast.
Zach Merritt, you could do the funniest thing in the world.
We will never make fun of the Bombers ever again.
The Bulldogs might just trade for you out of pure thanks.
Oh, my God. That is Zero Access Footy. What a crazy season it has been so far. Technically, we've got one more game to go. But thank you guys so much for following
10
us
more games to go.
so far. Yeah, technically 10 more to go. But in terms of home and away season, 1 more to go.
Just the one more.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the home and away season of Zero Access Footy. We're going to be in finals mode very, very soon.
Off-season mode is where we're peaking up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But thank you guys again for tuning in to Zero Access Footy. Be sure to follow us and subscribe to us on all platforms. Leave a like on whatever platform you're watching from. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Cheers, guys.